Hello and welcome to JoyRide with your hosts, the Metaphysical Moms, Tiffanie and Kerry. JoyRide takes you on a spin through all things spiritual and soulful, including holistic healing, energy work, and personal development. Now, here are your hosts, Tiffanie and Kerry.
Hi, everybody.
Hello there.
It's Facebook Live. It's JoyRide, Metaphysical Mom question and answer JoyRide show. Oh my gosh.
Sort of a tea time Q&A. And actually, this is our very first one.
Yay. I'm just taking it all in here. We're kind of moving into the 90s here.
Again, I will say 2000s, mid 2000s.
We are technologically getting up to speed here on JoyRide. This is our first live Facebook Live broadcast because we usually pre-record a week or two in advance and then put the show out. And so I'm so excited that we're going live on Facebook.
Yes.
Recording the show, putting it up on YouTube.
I know we're getting, actually, I'm having a really rough time with all of this because it is, it's not easy. I'm starting to feel older when my little 8-year-old just goes, chick, 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 and off he goes. It's like, here you go, Mom. I have you uploaded. Not really. He really doesn't. But he thinks he does.
He does.
Kind of
He's
cool.
like, I made you a YouTube page. Metaphysical Mom was spelt phonetically, but it was very sweet.
Yeah. I don't think any of us could actually find it. But actually, we were getting we wanted to hear feedback. And we sit in this small room, and we're not really sure who all hears us. I think we have 3 people.
Yay!
I'm kidding. Yay! No, but we have, so we wanted to open it up to you guys and find out what you wanted to hear, find out if you have any questions. I mean, we've done now, 48 shows? Yay!
Round of applause. We're celebrating our year anniversary.
A whole year.
Of the JoyRide show. And I remember when we first started, we're so nervous. Now I'm nervous all over again because it's all live and broadcast and videoed. And
I'm not really sure why, because we really never go back and take things out. I think we did at the very beginning, but we haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, we've never had to do a redo.
Well, maybe that's not really true, but
we did. We've done a couple.
We can't say F-bombs, can we, Bobby?
Oh yeah, we're on Facebook
on
now.
Facebook, can we do
cannot.
that?
We have to censor ourselves.
We have to be nice ladies.
What does it bring to your show?
What does it bring to our show? You know, at the beginning, though, Bobby said, you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want.
It's
and then
internet.
He's
This is producer Bobby Slam Duncan, who's a huge shout out to Bobby for putting up with us and our learning curve over this first year. Thank you.
he's our sensei.
He is.
Our radio broadcasting sensei. So anyway, so thank you.
The man behind the curtain making all the magic.
Yes, he is. He really is. So should we just launch in
Yes.
with some of our questions that we've received from some of our listeners?
Yes.
Yes. So you go first. You have a bowl. We have divided them into areas.
And if you have any questions, we are on Facebook Live. So jump on in. We have been collecting questions, email and friends. So we are, okay. So we're the Metaphysical Moms. No, I'm holding it out here. We're the Metaphysical Moms. So our whole JoyRide show has been about making this conversation more normal.
Mm-hmm, if that's possible.
If it's possible, because we do like to go way out there. But we talk to so many people who, in their corner of the world, they're like, I don't have anybody to talk to about this stuff.
Exactly.
I'm having out-of-body experiences, or I see my dead grandma, or I'm in meditation and these things are happening, or weird things are going on. I'm sensing and feeling things. And I don't have anybody to talk to about it because they think I'm going crazy. And we say, no, we're your kind of crazy.
Just fly your freak flag.
We want to hear from you. We want to be, your sisters. We're all in this together. And a rising tide raises all ships. So as we collectively raise up, we help support each other. And we all have our moments where we forget everything that we're preaching.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we pick each other back up. So we're so glad you're here on this JoyRide with us. Okay, so we randomly got these questions here.
Oh, no, I think, hold on. I think where you were going with that is we used to sit at the table in our homes and we would talk. We would drink our tea and
time.
we would talk and we would ask each other questions and, oh my gosh, this happened, or I just heard about this workshop, and we sort of divided into different, like, I love the out there, dimensions, parallel universes, and I've been shown a bunch of really cool stuff. Tiff is healing. You have to cut that stuff off. I mean, not cut it off, but
you have to engage and deal with your stuff, your emotions, your feelings to
keep
heal
you boxed in
your physical body.
Yeah. And then you rise up. So Kira is our top of the mountain. I mean, she is just brilliant, and she goes way up there. I'm midway, and you're
Mama Earth
on
down here.
Earth. Let's heal you first. And so, and I think that in the process of waking up, that's exactly how that works. All these things start to happen, and you start looking at life a little bit differently, and you start getting your mind blown here and there. And in order to keep going up and to ascend, you really do have to deal with what holds you back, and you have to deal with anger, and you have to deal with jealousies and insecurities. And yeah, but then everything gets sort of put into its place, and
it's a
and
gift.
off you go. So anyway, okay. So first question. So welcome to our
Oh wait, we have
kitchen
a few
table.
people. Sherwin saying hello.
Hi, Nanny Sherwin.
Hi. And Bobby joined. Producer Bobby joined in. Hello, Bobby.
You're getting us all over the place.
Okay, so I have a question. What is the difference between ego and soul?
Ooh, that's just jumping right on in.
That is jumping right on in because we have, so all of this is our opinion from all the experiences that we've had. I wish I could say I was channeling this from divine source. I am, but in my own way. So in my humble estimation, we believe ourselves to be a little Tiffanie, a little Kerry with a little lowercase t, a little lowercase k. Mm-hmm. But what we haven't realized to the fullest extent yet is the bigger version of us with the capital T, the capital K. So the ego to me is this human construct that we have. It's the mind, the thoughts, the beliefs, the personality that we filter everything through. Mm-hmm. We chose this persona, this time, this space, this community to be born into, and that's who we believe we are. When you start waking up to the idea that you are a much larger version of yourself, you're a higher being, a being of light who is actually in multiple places at multiple times in parallel universes. We'll go all into that today. But that's your soul, your higher self, the biggest version of you that is light, love, never separated. There is no separation. It's connected to all that is. And we funnel it's like we squeeze ourselves into a little teeny tiny human being.
Genie in a bottle.
A genie in a bottle. And then we forget that. We purposefully, through amnesia, we forget who we are. And then we try to let the head run the show and sort it all out and figure it out. And that's the ego. It's not bad. It's not wrong. But if I feel like if it's an untrained puppy,
like a monkey. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just jumping all over the place, pooping and barking, and but if it's trained, it will follow the soul. It will be the best watchdog, fetch dog, best buddy you've ever had.
That I think that to add to that, that is a great description, and to add to that, I sort of feel like it is the ego is also the part of us that is engaged in this 3D world. I need, I buy into the stuff, I buy into the rumors, I buy into what
drama.
other people think of me. Exactly. Yeah. That's the ego. And it's sum of everything you've put in it. Where when your soul, your heart is so much broader and knows so much more. But the ego is also the loudest part of us. And so I think that when you can tune that down, you can hear your heart, you can hear your soul, because your heart wants happy and your heart wants kind. And so if I get angry, my ego says, well, yeah, but I'm right. And I think she's wrong. But my heart says, she was having a really bad day. Maybe that wasn't really about me. So I think that's a little bit of it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're not calling the ego bad or wrong. It needs to have its place. It needs to have it, when it tries to be in charge, it's screaming, it's shrieking, it's running the show. So we just give it another job to do.
Give it a book.
Give it a book.
Give it a book to go read. Well, I think too
I like that question.
Well, the ego, I think also is, not to dwell too much on the ego, but we need the ego. The ego is what propels us forward in this life. I think.
Yeah. And we love Abraham Hicks, and Esther talks about the ego is your personal filtering device. And like you were saying, you're a sum of all the conditioning that you've been exposed to. And you get to sort and sift through everything you've been exposed to and how you feel about it and choose what you want to keep and what you want to let go of. So it's a very valuable tool. And we came here to be humans, to have this experience. This is where it's happening.
Well, I often say that I think sitting on a cloud in heaven and being one with all, that sounds so boring. I mean, I like the contrast. I make it very, not the contrast in a drama way, but the contrast in a, I think my way, you think your way, and then together we have all these different
Explain
experiences.
contrast a little bit more. What does that mean to you?
Contrast to me, so if I bump up against something that just doesn't feel right, it doesn't sit well with me, that to me is contrast, and it's an opportunity to look within and see why I feel the way I do, or what this emotion is trying to tell me. So that's my contrast. How about you?
Yeah, and it can come in the form of a person, a relationship, often our closest ones, our children, our husbands, our parents, our siblings, our boss. And that contrast can come in the form of money or your body or an illness. But yeah, it's all here to teach us how we're showing up for it.
Oh, I love that. So it is a direction, a signpost, if you will.
Yeah. Contrast is experiencing something other than what you would prefer, so that you can see, well, if I see the contrast, now let me decide what it is that I prefer. And then put all your attention on that. I think most of us get stuck. I don't like that. I don't like that. I get focused on the I don't wants.
Right.
And we don't use that information to let you know, oh, it's letting me know I'm choosing more freedom or more joy or more personal boundaries, whatever it is.
It's a point to shift.
It's a point to shift.
It's
That's
a point
all
to shift.
it's used for.
I can look at it differently.
Yeah, but if we get stuck looking at it,
Yeah, we can do that too.
we get very stuck.
Yeah, but
wanting it to change so that we can change.
But that's part of waking up, because when you wake up, you start looking at things and it's uncomfortable, and you start reevaluating. I've always said that going through therapy with Michelle Bonilla, who has been on the show, it was like turning my purse upside down and going through it and saying, I don't like this. Oh wait, I don't like that. Yes, I will keep this, and sort of filtering through what
Sifting
worked,
and sorting,
what didn't work, what was my mother's, what was mine, what was my father's, and just sort of creating your own beliefs and your own way. All right, so you want me to pull from my pile?
Pull from your pile, baby.
Okay.
What you got?
This actually I think should be for you. Why is frequency and raising your vibration important?
Oh, you take it. That's a great one.
That is a great one. All right, so I think that we probably should talk about frequency and vibration. Okay, so I think I can show it more than I can actually explain it. So if my frequency and my vibration, if everything is low, if I'm angry. Oh, I have an example. I was at Whole Foods and I didn't want to be there. I, for whatever reason, felt that I needed to choose this other wonderful store close by. So I would go in and I don't know what that was, but
Snarky.
I was snarky, and I got yelled at. I got yelled at in the parking lot. I got yelled at inside because my frequency was low. The energy, the vibe I gave off was a nasty one, I think. And that's what I got back.
And we don't realize how powerful we are, that you are emitting that vibration totally non-verbally. Your heart is emitting that vibration, and people are, and if they're resonating with it, they're giving it right back to you. So yeah.
Well, that goes back to what are they called? The
tuning forks.
The tuning forks. So if I have a C and Tiffanie has a C, when you hit the tuning fork and it plays a perfect C pitch, and if I gave everyone in a crowd different pitches, different forks, if I gave them an F, an A, and an A flat,
an FU,
an F. Oh, you're riding that line, and you hit it, and if I hit a C and
that's
Tiffany's
anger.
Out in the crowd, exactly.
And I have a C,
then I will my fork will make her fork.
Mine will start buzzing, even though it hasn't been dinged. The vibration will match the fork and make it buzz, which will incite the anger in me, if we're calling it anger.
Right.
It could be joy, could be any number of emotions.
So that is that whole
It's a
idea.
law of resonance, yeah.
It is, exactly. That whatever I put out, I get back. And so if people are just being nasty to you and they're not being very friendly, then you need to look inside. I don't like that word need, but
You may
that
choose
may be
to
an
look
opportunity to look inside and say, ooh,
where am I putting that out?
why am I attracting that? Exactly.
And you can be putting it out. You may not say it, but you may be cursing them out in your head and just thinking of all the different things you'd like to do to them. You're putting out that vibe, whether it's a verbal thing or not.
Right. That's
So
exactly
it's the
right.
thought, it's the energy, it's the intent. So why is it important to raise the vibration?
Okay, so I am
And
going
how?
to pivot. That's a good question. That's where I think you come in. So I will pivot at this one because I know that we are being asked as a collective whole to raise our vibration. We are moving into, and this is 4 shows right here, but we are moving into a different space, a higher vibrating world is what we're being asked to move into, and that's with the passing of 2012. The Mayan calendar, there was a lot of talk about what was supposed to happen in 2012, and we basically are, how do I say that? It
was the end of an age, and now there's a new era of energy coming
right.
into us, and it's all intangible and unseen, but people who are sensitive feel this energy shift.
That's exactly right. And we're getting these gamma rays that are hitting the earth from the sun. I mean, there are all these different components to this one idea. But what's happening is when people start to raise, and when people, it's sort of, again, like the A and the A sharp, how people are singing off key, and if you can hear that, it really sort of makes you crazy. That's what's happening. So we're raising our vibration, and some of us aren't raising aren't raising theirs, and they're living in a state of fear or constant anger. Well, that will turn inward, and people get sick, and people kind of just go off the deep end. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that there's so many people that have passed away. And I think a lot of folks are deciding not to leave or not to stay and kind of go to that higher plane. They're deciding to leave, or they leave and they want to come back. And so let's go ahead and bail out now. well, yeah, or they want to be a part of it as a young one of the next evolutionary place.
But we have an opportunity to raise our vibration now in the body that you're in, as your personality, to raise your vibration. And how do you think that would affect your how you feel, your relationships? How does that change things for you?
Well,
because you're going through it.
For me, it is, and I can see it in my home. If I'm having an off day, my kids have an off day. If I am happy and playing music and we're laughing, someone in my house, one of the little ones, can do something that makes me crazy, and I laugh, or I turn it into this big joke, and I can't really get there all the time, but it is, and then they laugh, and it just sort of goes away, it melts away, and we keep on riding that high wave. So as a mother, as a parent, you really can, lift the vibration, the frequencies in your own home.
Yeah,
and that's a great, try that sometime. Get yourself in that high place and walk into a store, or walk into your office or your house, and see what happens.
You smile at people, eye contact.
Right. Everybody responds in kind.
Yeah.
So that's right. So how do you try to keep yourself up? Try to stay in that higher vibrating place.
The first thing that I do is notice when I'm not. And all of a sudden I catch I'm been off on some little rampage in my head, and all of a sudden I'm like, I don't feel good. That doesn't feel right. I feel mad or upset or scared or nervous, fill in the blank. So the first thing is awareness. Awareness of what state you're in. And I think we're often distracted with the phones and the gadgets and the outside world, that it's taking a moment to really, how am I feeling? And Abraham Hicks again says, if you can make how you feel the most important thing to you, you can change your whole life pretty instantly when you care about how you feel. So
much easier said than done, though.
it is, but that awareness is the first step. And it's not just the first step, it's like this quantum leap. When you're aware of how you feel, and then in my world, I start saying, what have I been thinking about? Where am I focused? Am I focused on the problems? Am I focused on anger? Am I looking too far ahead in the future and things that I can't control? Am I in the past, worried about something that happened? Where am I? Because
Right.
I'm not here. Because the here and now, as Eckhart Tolle has taught us, and the power of now is the most powerful place to be.
Right.
So awareness, where am I? What am I feeling? And then my go-to tool is tapping, EFT, emotional freedom technique, and it helps shift out of the emotion that you're feeling. It's usually a stressful thought, a stressful feeling, anger, fear, grief, apathy, I'm hopeless and helpless kind of thing. So I mean, I would love to do a whole show on tapping. We haven't done that yet.
Give an example. Give an example of what it looks like.
So EFT is using your body's energy. You have an energy system running through your body and lines called meridians. It's called chi, it's called prana, it's your life force. It's what animates you as a human being, as a living thing. And you have so much more discernment over how you feel and using this energy. So the acupuncturists for centuries in the Orient have used Chinese acupuncture, Eastern medicine to help your body stay well. And by tuning these lines of meridians, these chakras, which are center points, they're all over your body, but you have major chakras that correspond with the major organs, and they are different frequencies of energy throughout you. By tuning into how you feel, where do I feel it, how's my body responding to this thought, this emotion, by tapping on your body in this sequence of events while you're giving yourself permission to feel it, because we often avoid feeling these emotions. I'd numb it, I'll drink it, smoke it, sex it, drug it, shop it, gamble it, you name it, to avoid feeling
Distract.
it, blame it on somebody else. But if you'll just sit with the emotion and feel it fully while you're doing this simple tapping process, tapping on these meridian points in your body, it allows the energy of that emotion you kind of ride the wave of it. And it won't last for more than like a minute or 90 seconds unless you keep telling the story and looking for examples. You'll just ride the wave of the feeling while you're doing this tapping. And the tapping's actually sending a signal to the primitive part of your brain that wants to go into fight or flight. Because when you're in fight or flight, you only have two options. Am I going to fight this or am I going to run away from it? You don't have a lot of options because you've actually stopped your rational thinking.
And it's instant.
It can come on. Yeah, it can come on. When you perceive a threat or somebody does something or says something to you, we've all felt that flush of, well, I'm just gonna show you. Or my feelings are so hurt, I want to run away and avoid this whole thing completely. So the tapping is a really simple, easy way, and I'll go into more depth. And we can put all the links to everything we're talking about on our website, which is joyrideshow.com. Go to the episode blog. And I'll put links to my website, My Untapped Potential, because I teach people how to do this in the moment, how to ride the wave of emotions, so that when you get on the other side of it, you have all these options available to you on how to handle it. So like you were saying, if your kids do something that drives you crazy, sometimes you can willpower yourself into just staying above it. But sometimes when you get that flush of anger, like, oh, that was it. You just crossed the line.
Did you do that again? Exactly.
Learning to ride that wave of anger so that you can have a much more mindful response to it. Like we've talked about this, instead of going off into anger and rage, which is usually not what you want to do.
Right.
We do sometimes. So to me, that's learning to manage these emotions and raise your vibration. And Esther Hicks, again, I keep talking about Esther from Abraham Hicks. She's like, you don't have to work hard to raise your vibration. You just drop the weight and your cork floats. So dropping this weight of emotion, the baggage, the anger, the bitterness,
visual.
the resentment. So yeah, just by dropping the weight, you will just feel lighter. So that's what I do with my tapping. That was a very long answer to.
Well, I've used it actually. I was sitting somewhere and someone was smacking gum, and I like gum, but that sound just makes me crazy. And I just started tapping. It worked.
It does.
It worked. I didn't want to rip out their tongue.
Yeah.
So it was a good one. Okay, you pick.
Oh,
your turn.
I just answered a question. You want me to do
No, I
another
know
one?
you answered my question.
Oh, well then you can answer mine.
We double teamed my question.
Let's see. What is the ethereal body? That's for you.
That's not for me. That's for you.
The ethereal body. Again, it's like the soul. It's that we have these layers of energy that are who we truly are. The you with a capital T. It's the true you. It's this light body. And Alex Gray is an amazing spiritual artist, and he has a beautiful representation of this. I'll post it on the blog page because he has a beautiful representation of this ethereal body that we have. And there's many layers to us that our physical eyes cannot sense. But we were
like
talking
your aura or your...
You can feel that vibe that you're putting out with that energy. You talked about that anger that you were feeling in the store. That vibe is out there in the etheric world. Mm-hmm. And we're all energy, and we're all feeling it.
It's like a soup.
And some people are very sensitive to this, empaths. They're very sensitive to everybody's energy and absorb it. And some people are like completely emotionally disconnected and are kind of oblivious to what other people are thinking and feeling. There's a whole spectrum.
Yeah.
I tap on people. Some people are feeling everything, and some people feel nothing. So you just you find where you are. But this etheric body, it's different for everybody.
Well, yes. Yes, but that is okay. So the two things I want to say. Okay, so I remember I was doing. It's sort of like tapping. It's NAET, which is this. It's Nambutipod's allergy elimination technique, and it works. This stuff works. I don't know how it works, but it works. But it's sort of like acupuncture. Yeah. So he was going back through after he finished doing the muscle testing and telling my body it didn't have to react a certain way to whether it's food or it's an allergen in the air or something. And he was going through my different organs, and he pointed here and he said, "Did you cry last night? You had a fight last night, or you argued last night."
Anger in the liver?
Yeah. And I said, "How did you know that?" "Yes, I did. I cried." He said, "It's stuck." So that's the ethereal or the etheric body, or that's the... There are many different terms, and what happens is anger, fear, it gets stuck out here first, and it eventually works its way down into your body, and it can show up as cancer, it can show up as just pain, it can show up as different illnesses, and it's easy to clear out if you can see it of your emotional. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Your emotional body.
Emotional body, absolutely.
But once it gets down into the 3D, into this body, because we're so much denser in this dimension, it's much harder. It's much harder to clean it out, get it out, kind of dislodge it. So, anyway.
It's habits. We get stuck in habits of thinking. So again, the first step is awareness, to see how am I thinking and feeling. How's my body responding to these thoughts and feelings? Tapping is just one way. Nate's amazing. And learning how to shift out of it. But there are many mindfulness practices that you can do to help yourself see how am I feeling and take yourself into a different state of feeling. Because your body, like you were saying, all the cells are responding to to everything we're thinking and feeling. It's believing what the brain is telling us, and it's responding to it like it's true. So when you start telling it a different story...
Do you think that's why my palms sweat and my feet sweat? I mean, because your body, you're feeling something and boop, and it
totally,
out,
it's totally responding to heart palpitations, flushed feelings. If you want to fight, your fist clench up. There's a million different ways your body responds. And like you said, it starts as a thought and a belief first, and then it starts manifesting in your body. Mm-hmm. But I've seen things like tapping do amazing things where like you said, I tell my body it doesn't have to respond to this thought, this feeling this way by getting knotted up in the stomach with ulcers or, my heart having a heart attack because I'm just so locked out of love in my heart.
Right.
There's so many different grief. There's so many different ways that we can process these emotions. Different states of being for like mindfulness, meditation, yoga, or just being in the moment with painting or gardening or dancing. It takes you out of those stressful thoughts.
Yeah, it puts you in that 0 point field. I mean, it puts you in that place of no thought, no time, which I love that place. I love it when I'm in that place. But you, who is it that says, are you laughing because I said I love it again?
No.
I've been saying that. And I listened to a show.
Don't stop yourself from saying I love it.
And I
say it as often as you can.
Rarely listen to our shows just because I don't like listening to myself, and it is and I realize I say, oh, I love that. But
you
it's
do.
Like,
that's one thing we love about you because you love that.
I love that. I really do love a lot of stuff. But I was going to ask you, who is it that was it Hayes that will show, like if something shows up on you through like breast cancer or
Louise Hayes, Heal Your Body. Yeah, she's got amazing books out where And a lot of intuitive healers can do this just by seeing where you're holding, what symptoms you physically have, upset stomach, hurts your back. You can kind of help understand what emotional baggage you're kind of carrying because your body's responding to it in typical patterns.
So, for example, if you have a backache and it's not a kidney infection and it's not, you didn't lift a big old box yesterday, that can be.
But even accidents, I don't believe there are accidents. Accidents are your body's way of showing you that
you're not supported.
The back is all about support, financial and emotional support. Your legs and hips and feet are all about moving you forward with determination and confidence. Your left side is feminine. It's the receiving part of you, so a lot of issues on the left side could have to do with feminine energy, mother energy.
What's breast cancer?
Well, the whole heart area is all about being able to give and receive love. And the breasts are typically nurturing, mother energy to nurturing. Do I feel nourished and nurtured? Am I over nurturing and mothering to where I'm exhausted, being depleted. A martyr? So there's lots of different emotional things that can resonate, and your body's really responding. So when they say I've been stabbed in the back, or he's a pain in the ass, or the weight of the world is on my shoulders, there's actually a lot of physical truth to that. That's how we carry that stress,
and that's how you interpret it.
But the great news, so we've talked about the problem, and again we're talking about the contrast, but we can use it to understand how powerful we are, and that you've created this successfully because you've believed it. This disease, this illness, this weight, this problem.
That's how strong it
is.
You've
believed it, and it's created, and you've got all these examples of how it's happening. You're like, it's true. I say, yes, it is true if you look at it that way. If you look at it, if you use it as information for what you would like, you can pivot out of it and then create what you do want, and that will be equally as true for you. And when you focus and develop and put your energy and your intensity in there, you have so much discernment over how you feel in creating this new reality for you. And then you have all these examples show up. The universe just is happy to deliver whatever you believe is true. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does. And that actually, somebody had asked me, it's in my little pile of questions, in waking up, what was one of the most profound thoughts or ahas that I had? And mine was victim. How many times I played victim. And then I would look for reasons. So, example, if I got upset with you, then I would look for reasons to validate how I felt. Yep. And I would just spiral out of control. And if people, it's kind of scary and it's very touchy, because if you tell someone, you brought this on yourself. And I remember the first time you told me that with my melanoma, and you're like, so why do you think you got it? Well, I didn't get it. It was just a freak accident. It was just a freak thing. And I don't know. And you said, no, you brought it on. But eventually I really did wrap my brain around the fact that nothing happens to us, whether it's in our soul contract, which is a big old sit down that we have before we come into this earth as who we are, and what lessons do we want to learn, and where do I want to go, and how do I want to grow, and different people that love us tremendously help facilitate that.
Play the roles.
And it can look really, really awful from this point of view, but
someone loves you enough to play the perpetrator so you can feel victimized, and then you can learn how to overcome victimized. So that person has actually done you the biggest favor by teaching you your own power.
That's exactly right.
Even though in the moment you just
want to curl up and cry. But I also, in that same line of thought, it is once you get that, and once you realize that you've either drawn these things in, you've chosen this partner over and over again, you're unhappy, once you stand up and you take, and I don't mean to preach this, but this was my huge aha.
Yeah.
Once you stand up and you take responsibility, I stutter on that word, you realize you can create anything. You write your show, you direct it, you star in your own show.
Yeah.
And so if I want to go to the moon, I'll figure out how to make that happen. And if I want it badly enough, which I don't, but it is, I'm afraid of heights, but it is, I just think that has been my biggest aha, is that there are no victims. Don't play victim, because you give your power away. And people, I don't know, I think we're kind of trained to play victim.
Well, and I'm sure many people have had horrible things happen to them, and we're not diminishing or saying that that's right or in any way condoning behavior where it victimizes somebody. But then you now get a choice of how to live with that, and how you wear that, and how you use that to your advantage now. To sometimes it takes a train wreck to get us to look at ourselves in a whole nother way. So
Thunking you upside the head.
yeah, and it can come in the way of, somebody doing something to you, or disease, or some, totally unforeseen circumstance that just happened, a curveball.
Well, I just wouldn't wake up. I mean,
Yeah.
my thing is I would not wake up. I knew I had something to do. I knew there was so much more. I'm always asking. And finally they said, okay, fine. And it got my
The melanoma
attention.
got your attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so what has been your big aha, like one of your spiritual ahas?
Spiritual. First, I want to say hi to Karina Escobar and Catherine Moreland. Hi. Thanks for tuning in on Facebook Live. If you are just joining us, this is Tiffanie and Kerry. We're the Metaphysical Moms on the JoyRide show, and this is our first Facebook Live show that we're recording. It'll go out on YouTube and iTunes and Google Play Music and Radio Brave and all of our media. But
I didn't realize that's what that was. Hi, JJ.
Welcome to our show. And we wanted to have more interaction and answer questions. So we've been collecting questions from our Joy Tribe, our Joy Riders, and sort of just having a tea time where we chat about kind of all things
whatever.
Spiritual, metaphysical. So my biggest ahas? Is that what you asked
Your
me?
spiritual, oh my gosh, how did I not see this before now? That has helped shape you as you are now.
I have two. Let me think the best one I want to talk about. And the first one, and we just did a show with Stevens and Pruitt,
Yeah.
where 25 years ago, how long ago was this? This was in the late 90s.
just
So
say 10
we'll say
and call it
20
even.
years ago. 20 years ago. My mother had passed away when I was 15, and she had died from alcoholism and depression, and it was a really, really hard time for our family. We'd had a bankruptcy, and it was just very heavy, dark energy. And I was scared of anything paranormal, metaphysical. Wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
But why specifically that? Because that's an interesting thing during all of that to be scared of.
Because, well, first of all, I'd watched the Amityville Horror when I was 10.
That's a terrible movie.
I'd read the book too, and it just put this fear in me when I was about 10. So that was weird. And I remember asking my parents if they'd seen ghosts, and they were like, well, we haven't seen any. And I was just scared of paranormal. And when my mom died, she was in an alcoholic depressive state, and she would have these terrors, and I would have night terrors of just things chasing us and killing us, and it was horrible. Night terrors. And so I didn't want anything to do with this stuff. It was just, I didn't understand it, and I didn't even want to learn about it. So I lived with that for about 10 years from when she died until I was in my late 20s. And I was working at KLOL, and Stevens and Pruitt had a phone psychic come in, and they were all connecting with their dead relatives. And I was brave enough to go into the morning show studio and say, can I talk to my mom? So during a commercial break, I got under the control room desk and put the headset on and talked to this phone psychic, and he connected me with my mother. And it was a brief, like 3-minute conversation, but she's like, tell John I love him, which was my dad. She's like, I'm with the angels now. I felt like I got hijacked, and I was just in a low place, but I'm fine, and you're fine, and it's all good. And it was such a lovely, sweet, short message that I did a 180. And I was like, what was that? I want more of that feeling, and opposed to all this fear and avoidance that I'd been doing. I was like, I want more of that. So I just followed these little breadcrumbs, and it has led me to this place where now this is what I do. I teach people not to fear spirit or the afterlife, not to fear. The greatest thing we have to fear is fear itself.
I was going to say, I think fear is underlying everything.
And the fear of limit, of lack, of not enoughness, that we all feel disconnected and not enough, and I don't belong and I don't fit in. I'm scared of not be, fit into the group. A lot of people feel that, and we do go to great lengths to avoid it and distract ourselves. Mm-hmm. But the greatest gift has been understanding the spiritual connection that I still have with my mother, is what started me on the path, and that I have it to my Creator, to you. We're all unity. We're all one aspect. We're all one part of the source, looking through it from our unique little perspective. And it has blown my world open. So I think that's my biggest one. And then tapping is the thing that taught me how to shift myself out of these knee-jerk reaction emotional responses that I've had.
So take control.
To take control
your
of it in a
emotions.
very personal way, and understanding that self-work is huge on a quantum level. And if be the change you want to see in the world, you know, Gandhi has said, be the change you want to see in the world. And it starts at home. It starts with you, because then it affects your family. It affects your community at
ripple
the
effect.
grocery store. It affects your state, your country. You be the change. You don't have to take on the whole world and solve everybody's problems and fix everybody. You do you, and then you're a shining example for what everybody else can do for themselves. And then we transform. That's the wake-up process. That's this ascension.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I think you have this ability to turn the negative very easily into a different way. You pivot very easily, but
Only through a lot of practice.
But you said last, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, you and I were talking about something, and I love this because I think this is a really big thing with you. You said, you know, things have always come to me, like the big things in your life that have helped create, but you've surrendered to the path. You trust that what shows up is supposed to be in your life, and it's not true that. Shout out. But it is, I think that's true, because I think that, I mean, looking back at my husband, I didn't have to, I mean, okay, I know my family that's on board right now, you will say that was a very long 3.5 years that Charles and I, before we got married, but he showed up, and there were signposts there. And you're right. The show showed up.
All the big things in my life has kind of shown up for me.
You didn't have to work hard and control and grasp.
Well, and I've worked hard, to be a good person and do the things that felt right, and, you know, go to school, and I've worked hard to kind of be the best me I can be, but then these big things have just shown up for me that I'm like, yes, why, thank you, I will step into that.
And you do say yes. Every now and then you're like,
yes,
I don't want to say yes.
I'm scared. Okay, we have some friends that are joining us. Sarah, we love Sarah. Can I just do a shout out for our Sarah Kajawa, who is our other metaphysical mom friend here
From
in
Grief to
Houston.
Grace.
She is. We've done a show with Sarah. Which show was Sarah on?
You keep hitting my screen.
Oh, I do. I'm touching her screen. You show me what show Sarah was, because
Sarah.
Sarah is a beautiful friend who has gone from grief to grace and has done exactly what we're doing, where we turn something tragic and use the power from it.
Show number 32.
32 with our friend Kerry Mina too. About living an authentic life and turning a tragedy into a triumph. And when she lost her son Adam and went through all the grief, she's now connected to him on a spiritual level, and is a medium and an amazing Reiki healer and energy healer. So shout out to my lovely friend.
So, Sarah, can you? You
She's
guys are
sending us
seeing this
kisses
too.
and hugs.
She often says, "Oh, Robin Williams is at your house." Oh, and because one day he popped in, and I looked. I was reading about him, and he was just a miraculous man, and so I wanted to know more about him, and he popped in. I was in my room on my bed, and he popped in on my left, and I freaked out. I was like, "Oh my God!" And he popped away. And so she's always saying that he has really funny, you know, low slung balls jokes. He's really, really funny.
Okay, we have.
And here's Joy. Joy had her first.
Hall and Denise. Hi.
Joy had her first talk with Emma yesterday. You know, it went really well.
It did.
Yeah.
Okay, Emma's Emmanuel. And show number 30 was where she brought
she's been on
down
several.
Moses Malone from the mountain from us and talked to Moses Malone, and we've done a show with her with special needs kids, show number 36. So Emmanuel McIntosh is another beautiful metaphysical mom friend of ours who has embraced her gift, and she went through horrible tragedy and has turned it into this beautiful triumph.
Well, she brought through Stevenson
She did. Stevenson Pruitt for
and then
us.
all of Mr. Shannon's
Eddie
family.
DeBorner Sanchez. I can't even do his voice. But
Aw.
these are amazing friends. So hi guys, thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. We are so excited to have all of you join us. This is fun.
It is fun, and I appreciate everybody out there just coming along with
and
us
supporting us all
Oh,
this
man.
year.
Yeah.
Early in the beginning, we're making a lot of mistakes, and y'all are
There
just
are
so
no mistakes.
encouraging. No, just supportive. It doesn't have to be perfect. So if you're feeling something that you want to do and you're just not sure, get those friends that are on board with you. to encourage you. Don't listen to the naysayers and just start doing it.
Yep.
Just start showing up. It does not have to be perfect, but start doing whatever that creative thing is, whether it's writing the book, doing your own blog, baking those cookies to sell, whatever it is for you, start doing it and let things unfold for you. It's beautiful. We encourage you. And we want to hear about it.
Exactly. Yes, please. And the energy will take hold, and you never know. Like Malk. Like August with Malk, which is a nut milk, and we had her on the show. She was show number...
We're looking.
Right here. We should know these.
20.
20.
August Vega. Malk is amazing.
See a need, fill a need, and here she is, just woman on fire. Her product is in stores all over the country, and I mean she's an amazing human.
Yes.
But okay, so I have a question. What was the significance of 2012? We sort of have touched on this here and there, but all right. So as the Mayan calendar, this is as I have learned throughout a bunch of different things. So if I get it wrong, please let me know. We are in these cycles that last for 26,000 years. And the Mayans, about 5,000 years ago, I think I have that right, they made this calendar, and they foresaw all these different changes. And on December 21st, 2012, that was the first day of the new energy. And everybody sort of like Y2K, New Year's Eve on Y2K, everybody wondered what was going to happen. Everybody in the metaphysical New Age world.
That was year 2000, right? Yeah.
Yes. But for
2012,
everyone, everybody was really excited. So what happened was the planets lined up, and so this new energy, like this opening, happened, and so we were ushered into this new, they call it the Aquarian age, and we're getting serious here. It's like, okay, folks, we need to wake up. No more of the, we have to do away with all these systems of greed, whether it's politics or it's education that's broken, or we need transparency, we need to come together. So that's what 2012 is. And for me personally, what I have seen is the veil between this dimension and the next is much, like, you can see through it a lot easier. So I think before, you really had to sit and you had to meditate and you had to find a guru and you had to do all this work, and it was a lot of effort. Now it's a lot easier. You don't have to have all the rituals around it in place. You can access it yourself. And I have been told throughout my journey, follow no one. I mean, you go, you learn, you gather all you can, but you have that direct line to God. You have that direct line to your guides, to your oversoul, to everyone around you, because you have a whole team in place. If you think you're alone, man, you're not. And that actually brings me a lot of comfort and joy. And so that is, I think, what 2012 was all about. And we can go in, I mean, there's actually a lot more to it, but that's
and they say it's
easy.
Speeding up.
Time's speeding up.
It's the energy is speeding up. And so a lot of these things that feel like contrast and breaking down, it's actually good. So
Right.
don't panic. It's all under control. It's all working itself out.
They just showed me that
Be the
picture.
light.
That picture, that movie Contact,
Yeah.
with Jodie Foster,
Yeah.
where she's in that spaceship and it starts to do this and everything breaks apart, and then it's simple again. And so that's what's going on now. Everything's sort of breaking apart, and I'm just
strong.
going to say that the whole Trump thing, it is, whether you like him or you don't, he's shaking shit up.
Yeah.
I mean, he is vibrating it to a point where things, I mean, people can't keep their head in the sand any longer. All right, your turn.
What is reincarnation? I like this story. I like this question.
I know. Go for it.
So reincarnation, I'm sure many of you listening to this show know what reincarnation is, but it's the belief that your soul is in this dimension and then it comes down into multiple human bodies over different timelines and different areas and spaces. And it's hugely popular in Indian traditions and Hindu. It's been around for centuries. Buddhist, yeah.
I think there are like 84 different cultures. that
There's
believe
billions of people on the planet that believe in reincarnation as the soul's way of having lots of different experiences. It plays in with karma, about you, the good things that you do in one life. Not good, but the positive energy you build up in one life, offsetting negative or contrasting energy you put into one life. We're playing these different roles, right? Perpetrator and victim. You're coming in to try all these things on and see how you relate to it, and it's all adding to sort of the knowledge base, the experience of the all. And so you can do things like past life regression. Don't take our word for it. You can do things like past life regression, and we did a show with Nora Yolis Young. What show was she? She was
Right here.
Show number 27, Birth, Death, Afterlife, Repeat. So we did past life regression, and not just, she can take you through a hypnotic state into a past life, but then also back up into the afterlife where you kind of plotted and planned what schemes am I going to work on, what themes, what characters am I going to play with.
So life between lives.
Life between life regression. You can learn a lot about your soul's personality and age and development. And then it kind of helps you get back down here. You're like, oh, that makes perfect sense why I'm going through this and why they're playing that role for me. It kind of gives you an overview for your life. So much of this feels random and it's just happening and we're all just caught up in a whirlwind. But when you see it from a 30,000-foot view, your soul's view,
You see all the pieces.
you see all the pieces. It makes sense. It makes sense as much as our human brains can wrap around it, though.
Well, and you know, it's funny. I was thinking about that. It is. So I've been given all these pieces, these puzzle pieces. And so on the other side, there is no such thing as time and space. And so I will ask a question and get the answer in 2 years. That's not, I mean, these are pretty big answers. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. They'll tap me on the shoulder and say, okay, look around. Do you see the orbs on the grid? That's you. It's like, didn't I ask that question like 2 or 3 years ago? But it is.
Now you're ready for it.
No, exactly. That's exactly right. But
You
they
get it when
give
you're ready.
in pieces. And I have to anchor things. The way my brain works, like I can't just take a class. The class has, like, if I took a business class, okay, fine. But if I have a business like interior design, Stonehouse, then I can actually anchor it. Oh yes, I can apply it.
Yeah.
Everything has to be applicable. So I've been given all these random little puzzle pieces for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And now it's starting to make this picture, and it's starting to make sense. And you know, a couple times they would give me something, and I just wasn't ready for it, and I would kind of freak out and think, okay, this shit's weird, and walk away. and now this shit's not so weird. It kind of makes sense because it has context. So that is, and
That's so funny. That's so true.
it is true. It is true. So I think all of that plays in. This is off topic, kind of. So I was thinking, I'd read, and I thought this was beautiful. It was in the Mark Connick's book. They were saying third dimension is here, here, right here. And then fourth dimension is the hallway to the fifth. It's what, and that's where we go when we die. That's where, and we typically like to present and to project what this looks like there. So that movie, again with Robin Williams, shout out to you, What Dreams May Come, where you create your world that you just left. And so now we're expanding into this new energy, and it's pushing everything up, and it's pushing, the fourth is getting a little bit bigger, and the fifth is a little more accessible.
Wow.
So anyway, again, that is a whole other show.
Kind of blows your mind, but
Okay.
But reincarnation, I just think we're here having this experience. But like you said, time and space do not exist. So I can be right now in ancient Greece having a life as a warrior. I can be in Egypt right now having a life as a pyramid building peasant. I can be in the future right now having as a life on some kind of a habitation on a different planet.
Okay, you say that, and so the healing work you do here affects all of that. So
It does.
Think about that.
You bring in all the different elements. So whatever you're going through in different times and dimensions, it can affect you here, and you can learn to release that or help other dimensions of you. I know we're getting way out there.
Well, that would be the David McCready show, which we recorded and should be on in a couple of weeks or next
he's
week.
learned. You were talking about going to the moon and not knowing if you can. I was like, well, you can just astral travel and go to the moon. You don't have
Exactly.
to physically go to the moon to reach your goals. So there's a lot of different ways to skin that cat.
So here's another thing: is that your
Poor kitty.
poor kitty, is that so you have your oversoul, you have this big soul, and it's in it, and the best way I've you back on the cat?
No.
The best way that I've heard this explained is that it's like Kerry at 2, Kerry at 5, Kerry at 15, Kerry at 23, Kerry at 35, Kerry at 80. They're all different, right? I mean, I'm not, but overly, I'm still me. So that's the way this is. It's like you have this oversoul, and you have, Kerry in Houston, Kerry on the moon. You have all these different aspects. You have all these different beings in place that represent you. And
you may be a man or
or an alien or whatever.
Different. Yeah.
But they say that you can be, I think, incarnated up to 10 different 10 different places at the same time. So I can be a kid in India. I can be, you can be, and I don't know where they came up with it, and I'm not sure who they are and where they came up with that. But I think that's really true. And you never really meet yourself, because it just doesn't work if you meet yourself. Yourself and yourself.
Like, I know you, but I don't know you.
I've only had that experience one time. I met this woman. It was a friend. Anyway, doesn't matter. So it was my grandmother's friend's wife, and she and I both locked eyes, and she had my eyes, and we were both, and I looked at her, and I didn't know what it was, and I kept thinking, oh my God, why are you so familiar? I know you. She went to my grandmother and said the exact same thing. She's like, I know your granddaughter somewhere. I don't know how I know her, but it was really cool. So
that's awesome. Okay, I think we have time for one more question.
Okay, 4 minutes. Let's see. Okay, we already kind of answered that one. Okay, why should we delve into past lives?
Why would you do a regression? Yeah.
Okay. So basically, your lives are like a book, and the different selves are chapters. So in each chapter, you may pick up different coping skills. You may, fight or flight. You may stay and fight. Different things happen to you that carry over into this lifetime. So, for example, if you have just this fear of water, and you've never almost drowned, you
like a phobia,
never fall. Yeah. So a lot of times you can track that back. You can trace that back to a lifetime where maybe you were on a ship and you fell in and you drowned, or the ship, was blown up and you drowned. So Ainsley MacLeod, who is just incredible, because he goes directly to the lifetime that created that,
using his guides.
Echo.
Yeah, he doesn't put you under hypnosis. He's able to just tune into kind of your records, and
it's something. Yeah. I mean, there have been times when he just absolutely, every time I talk to him, he absolutely nails it, and it's very specific. And Kerry, your left foot has something on it, and you like textiles, and you stole something, and he's right on all counts, or you have something in France. And anyway, you have to check him out, AinsleyMacLeod.com.
And he'll be a guest
Scottish.
soon on the show.
Yes, and he's
been
amazing.
on Oprah. He's written several books. The Invitation. No, The Instruction.
The Instruction. And anyway, so
another great book on reincarnation is Brian Weiss's Many Lives, Many Masters. If you're interested at all in reincarnation, that's a great book to check out, because he's a highly trained psychologist, and his client Catherine had so many phobias she couldn't cope, and he regressed her back under hypnosis to try and find childhood issues, and couldn't, but all of a sudden she'd started popping into these past lives, and over the course of a couple of years, he regressed her back through 86 different traumatic deaths.
Whoa.
Where she was decapitated, she drowned, burned up in a fire, she was shot, betrayed, whatever. And as they went through, and she was able to gently re-experience and release that trauma, the phobia in this life cleared up. Mm-hmm. And then she was fine. And that it blew his doors open. He had to kind of come out of the closet to his psychological community and say, this stuff is real, people. It's a real healing modality for a lot of people who are holding on to something that's unexplainable, but they're feeling it.
Well, my son, one of my kids, he just kept responding a certain way to my, anytime I left, and it got worse as he got older. And we traced it back. We found it. And it was actually 2 lifetimes, and he had some moms that were less than nice. And anyway, so and it healed him. I mean, it really, it worked. And we did counseling, we did all this stuff that didn't seem to really kind of get to the core of the issue. So this stuff is pretty cool. Past life stuff. Well, guys, I think we pretty much killed our hour.
That went so fast. We've got like 18 more questions here that we received. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us live on Facebook. It's been wonderful having our friends here with us. And we're going to do more of this. This was fun.
Yes. Let us know what you think, too. And anyway, we can't wait.
Thanks for having tea time with us.
Yay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful